Your Excellencies, Honorable Ministers, distinguished members of the ladies and gentlemen of the press, Mr. Chair, if you would permit, I'll adopt the protocol that you had already. If I attempted to follow it, I'll make very many mistakes. We're grateful to you, our dear sister, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, for bringing this meeting of global trade policy makers to my own home, to Cameroon. It was said earlier by your chairman that it's Africa in miniature, and he took care, with the assistance of his colleague, the Minister of Arts and Culture, to make sure that Cameroon also was the world in miniature. You experienced it. I'm also sure that you've all mostly experienced the very unique and diverse cuisine that this country enjoys. And you will now realize, my dear sister, why it is that Cameroon, even though a very good friend of Nigeria, did not join you in the Jollof wars. This occasion marks the first ministerial conference held in Africa since the last one in Kenya in 2015. We recognize the logistical challenges convening more than 166 ministers and policymakers in this city, but the decision you made to host here against all odds, and we became aware of some of the difficulties and the challenges you faced in doing so. The decision sends a powerful message that the time has come to rethink a multilateral system that has not served Africa so very well. We understand that your agenda this week is extremely wide-ranging. It's a closed meeting. Some of us may not have the opportunity to take part there, as we certainly don't have the vote. However, you invite us AFREXIMBANK here, and what brings us to Yaoundé is your program, the PPC, the Partenariat pour le Coton. So let us talk cotton a little. First, we are not surprised that you chose to bring us here to talk cotton because of your very strong interest in it. It's one of those areas we believe Africa must begin to add value in order to reduce its dependency and improve on its own foreign exchange gains. After all, our sister, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala, you have been the global ambassador for African fabrics and garments for many decades now. We have no doubt that you hold the exclusive trademark for publicizing African fabrics, even if, as the head of the WTO, you have not yet patented it. In AFREXIMBANK, we would like you to achieve this patent, but in a very different way. We would like to do so through the processing in the African continent of Africa's own cotton sector, not just for domestic consumption, but by building a globally competitive textile and garment industry on this same continent, which is responsible for so much of that production. We have already demonstrated in AFREXIMBANK. We have demonstrated through our investments in the Benin Special Industrial Zone. Benin is a little country on the West African coast, that Africa can supply quality products to major global brands. And these brands include Nike, Zara, H&M, and so on. Building on this success in Benin, we have begun constructing special economic zones dedicated to cotton processing and other industries. We have done so, started in Cameroon, in Chad. Advancements have been made in Côte d'Ivoire and in Mali, and we have commenced the active discussions with Kenya and Rwanda and Nigeria and other countries across the continent. In Nigeria alone, the commitment is $2 billion to transform that sector in that very large country completely. We are implementing this program in partnership with ARISE Integrated Industrial Platform. That platform belongs to you, the African ministers. AFREXIMBANK has, on your behalf, invested heavily in that platform and currently controls over 35% of its ownership. And we have done so with the African Finance Corporation. As funding partners, AFREXIMBANK and the AFC, together and separately, have provided significant debt and equity financing to support the work of ARISE in delivering these critical industrial developments. Together, we have resolved that over the next 15 to 20 years, Africa's cotton, Madam Director General, you may be on retirement then, but we have resolved that within 15 to 20 years, our cotton should no longer be exported in its raw form. It will be exported as fabrics and garments. By 2030, we should have created 500,000 jobs and generated 10 billion in import substitution from the African cotton sector. What is particularly noteworthy is the ecosystem. That's where we think there is need for some concentration. The ecosystem surrounding the cotton value chain. Every time we engage potential investors, we are told that they cannot invest because there is no energy and there is no water, there are no roads and no supporting infrastructure. In response, AFREXIMBANK has resolved with its partners that within the special economic zones we create here and there, in Dubamba, in Cameroon, in Cork, in Gabon, in Benin, we've resolved that we will provide the necessary energy infrastructure. Where the gas is required, we will install the pipelines. And where connecting roads and transport infrastructure are needed, we will work with governments to develop them. We have also committed to providing working capital financing through our African Trade and Distribution Company to cotton processing firms across the continent. In addition, we have made a very deliberate decision to locate within those zones what we describe as the African Quality Assurance Centers, so that no longer would the product be tested at destination. They will be tested in the industrial zones, ensuring that the products meet the required international standards before they leave the African shores. For these investments to succeed and generate the desired impact, you as ministers and the public sectors must do your part by putting the right policy frameworks in place. You must be bold. This is a struggle. It is a war. I know in the WTO you chose to describe them in terms of cooperation, but we must protect our nascent industries from unfair competition by heavily subsidized industries elsewhere. Director General, in your statement a few minutes ago, I heard you say fairness over 6 times. Fairness is sometimes not about equality of treatment. It's about bringing others to the right level playing field. And what we see today is not about rules. Rules work for those with the economic, financial, and military muscle to impose their ways. We are concerned we are actually worried that the existing world trading system it just might not deliver the fairness that our continent deserves. A fair trading system is what we call for, but the one which exists at the moment and is currently conceived remains great work in progress. We will make these investments in Africa, which I have announced, but they will come to nothing if there are no measures to safeguard them. Please consider that Africa spends about, in our own estimations at AFREXIMBANK, $48 billion annually. The figures get bandied around. In some cases, it's stated as $45 billion, in others 55, but we think 45 or 55 or 60 is neither here nor there. But we spend about that figure annually importing cotton products. Unless African ministers of trade and governments act boldly, extremely boldly and fearlessly, our continent will not reclaim even a quarter of this $50 billion. So we need conscious and very deliberate action from our civil servants. They must not become instruments of obstruction. Civil servants must be made to facilitate, not frustrate development. There is no justification for goods to remain in the seaports on entry or on exit for too long. Nor should it take 6 months to grant the construction permit of an industrial zone. We think that the civil service must take its own responsibility. We know things can work. We have the money, but money alone is not enough. We know that in places like Benin, things worked. They worked because in Benin, someone decided that they had to work. There is nothing extremely extraordinary about that in Benin, except that at some point, a very determined private sector-driven government resolved to make the industrialization of cotton in Benin to succeed. With the support of AFREXIMBANK and a RISE integrated industrial platform, this vision in Benin, the vision of the government of the Benin and the shared determination of the government itself, turned into life what has now become a changing reality. And what is this reality today in Benin? It once produced 40,000 tons of cotton, which generated about $40 million annually in export revenues, as raw cotton sold at between $1 and $1.50 per kilogram. Today, the evidence we have from the investment we have made in the Benin Special Industrial Zone shows that 1 kilogram of cotton produces perhaps 4 T-shirts, each retailing for $4 to $5. As a result, the same 40,000 tons of cotton in Benin, that's 40 million kilograms, now generate for that country about $800 million. Now you can see the stark difference. The gap between 40 million and 800 million, and we have the statistics because we are in the zone, is clearly demonstrates that all we need is the determination of the government and the will, the passion of the civil servants. This striking transformation reflects the power of value addition, an opportunity that has largely eluded Africa for nearly a century. I must emphasize, Deputy Director, I may have to steal your water, but I'll keep your glass. I would like to emphasize that this success was not driven by money alone. Money turned out not to be the issue. AFREXIMBANK, as I speak, has a balance sheet of $50 billion. We hope to end this year, 2026, somewhere around $56 billion. So there is money. And right now, as we speak, we're carrying about $11 billion in liquid assets. That's money. We're looking for where to put the money. So money is not the issue. The political will. Senior officials in Benin made the decision to end the export of raw cotton. It works when governments resolve to protect young industries and when civil servants understand that this transformation must happen. We have the money, we seek the expertise, which is the only area where we think something was lacking. We have the money, we seek the expertise, we need the passion of the countries. We have partners ready to work with us. The African Finance Corporation, the other members of the African Alliance of Multilateral Financial Institutions. I'll be over in just less than a minute, Secretary General. I wouldn't be too long. The other members of that alliance, AFREXIMBANK is particularly encouraged that the new leadership of the African Development Bank shares our commitment to transforming Africa's cotton sector and other commodities. This alignment at such a critical moment will undoubtedly strengthen our execution capacity and accelerate the achievement of our shared goals for the continent. We are also working with export credit agency partners in China and Switzerland to mobilize affordable funding in support of this effort. Let me conclude, Secretary General, by thanking the members of the press, of the African press here present, for helping to take this message of a global positive Africa into African homes. Gentlemen of the press, of the African press, please take this message into African homes, into African public institutions, into the African streets. You must combat the negative imaging about our continent. There are good things happening. If you continue to relay just the negative aspects of our own continent, you will entrench a certain belief that the continent is full of risk. Risk here, risk there. In my 32 years in AFREXIMBANK, we have provided several $billion and we haven't lost $1 billion yet after disbursing over $500 billion. Your continent is not risky. Your continent has opportunities. Your continent needs men of passion. I also thank our African ministers and governments for creating AFREXIMBANK. Created AFREXIMBANK not just as an institution, as any other multilateral. You created it with extraordinary innovation. When I saw the creation instruments for the first time, they were very distinct. They did not look like the instruments of any existing multilateral then. And you gave it the flexibility to act boldly, very swiftly, and with impact. This is your institution. It belongs to you, it belongs to the government. I repeat, it belongs to you. What you want is what we will do. The money is yours. You control over 75% of the shareholding. AFREXIMBANK's success lies in the fact that it is perhaps the only multilateral institution in the world which is fully owned by Africans, guided and controlled by Africans. It is your institution. Stand by it. Give us the opportunity. Sign the land certificates when we want them. Sign the approvals when we need them. We have the money. We will get the expertise. Thank you, honorable ministers, for listening to me, and thank you for these 3 minutes that I have exceeded.